Hello, happy second day of school. So I'm going to let you know what we did today in case you might have missed it. So after attendance, we went over the syllabus and all the kids have a copy of it. I'll show you how to get it. We'll go into my third block today. And then we'll go into the classwork tab. If you remember from the first day, I said a lot of our work is going to be in here. Now, once we load the classwork tab, the third thing down in Introductions and Basic Information is a sixth grade humanities syllabus. Now I will zoom as I read, but it is a 3-page document that gives everyone the rules for the reason that I want you to know what my expectations are and what you need to be a successful student in my sixth grade class. So, it is sixth grade humanities. It is 2020 to 2021 school year, and I am Miss J's. Now, if you need to get into contact with me, I do have my email posted here. It is also posted on my Google site, as well as I do have a Google Voice number. I ask that students do not call me. However, they are allowed to text me as long as they're not abusing that power. My preferred method of communication is email, as I don't keep my phone on me during the workday, so I'm less likely to answer. Now, while we are in a virtual start of school, this also works for when we come back. So, for responsibility and preparation, I say 3 things. Come to class on time with a writing utensil, preferably a pencil. I say preferably because I do have some students who get creative with their writing utensils, and I will try to grade something written in highlighter, and eventually I unfortunately can't read anymore. So I do ask that it is a pencil or a writing utensil. You can do pens in a black or a blue ink. Try not to do red, but it's pretty much every single day what you will need to bring in. Number 2, when we come into the class, I need them to immediately start getting ready. Now, in the normal school day, we start every class with independent reading time. So that means that by the time the bell rings, they have their book, they are at their seat, and they have started reading. I understand that they might want to socialize before the bell rings, but I suggest they get their book ready and they are conscious of the time. 3, work should be turned in on its due date. However, late work will need a ticket to regrade. This is going to be located in the Google Classroom. However, it is not currently uploaded because the kids don't have anything that has been graded, so they don't need it regraded. Now, anchors will require all accompanying foundational work completed. The example I gave in class was if you fail my world religions quiz, all the world religions graded work and homework needs to be completed as well before you can schedule a retake. We'll move down to our units. Now, because humanities is made up of both history and language arts, I broke it down in case you wanted to see or get a little bit of a preview of what we're going to be learning. So during history, there are 6 main things we'll be diving into this year. During first quarter, we're going to be looking into geography, more specifically, the 5 themes of geography, so human-environment interaction, movement, region, location, and place. In those 5 themes, we'll focus on the main topics of the world religions. We'll be talking about Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. And then lastly, we will focus on government. In second quarter, we'll be moving on to Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley. Now, Mesopotamia is in the Middle East current day, and the Indus Valley is on the edge of India. We'll go into the civilizations of Sumeria, Akkad, Assyria, and Babylon for Mesopotamia. In the Indus Valley, we'll talk about the Harappans, Mohenjo-daro, Mauryans, and the Guptas. In third quarter, we'll be looking into Egypt and China with the Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, and New Kingdom of Egypt, the Xia, the Shang, the Zhou, the Qin, and the Han dynasties of China. And lastly, fourth quarter, we'll look at econ, specifically in supply and demand, globalization, and specialization. Now, in language arts, we are going to be looking at some novel units as well as some book circle groups. So the way reading works in my class is you either have a whole class novel in which we will read the same book all together, or we'll have book circle groups in which you will be given a selection of books and you will pick which one you would like to read. Now, in first quarter, we're going to read Count Me In by Varsha Bahaj. In the second quarter, as an advisory, you will read The House That Lou Built. Also in language arts second quarter, you'll have a collection of Middle Eastern and Indian books. So it is books set in the Middle East or India that'll connect with our history unit during that time. We have A Bridge Home, The Night Diary, Amal Unbound, Malala, My Story of Standing Up for Girls' Rights, and Other Words for Home. During third quarter, we'll be reading Mercy Suarez, Changing Gears, as well as See You in the Cosmos by Jack Cheng in your advisory class. Lastly, will be fourth quarter poetry units. You can choose from Crossover, Long Way Down, Catching the Storyfish, Home of the Brave, and Love That Dog. Now, grading policy is the same as fifth grade in that we have mastery grading. Mastery grading is the belief that providing flexibility and time to students will improve their understanding and give them a chance to focus on mastering a concept. That being said, mastering the concept earns a student a B. To earn an A, students must exceed their requirements to go beyond mastery. If an item is not fully completed, it earns an IP or in progress. If the item is not completed at all, an item earns an IN or an incomplete. Now, electronic devices. Electronic devices should be kept in students' backpacks. Now, I understand if we are doing virtual learning, they might not have their backpack on them. That being said, I would prefer it was away and so it was not distracting. However, in the class, I do not want to see it. So devices should not be out during class unless otherwise instructed by the teacher or with permission. The only time I give permission during class is we will have a work day and they will know ahead of time, and they may put a playlist on their phone, put their phone face down, and listen to it as they work. The first offense, if I see a phone that is not supposed to be there, is they will turn it in to the teacher, me, until the end of class. At the end of class, I will return it to them. Second offense, so second time I see their phone when they're not supposed to have it. Student will turn the phone into the teacher until the end of the day, at which 3:30, I'll give it back. Third offense, the phone will be turned into the office and parents will have to pick the device up. Now, that being said, I do understand that there are other circumstances, such as emergencies, in which students might need to have a phone on them. As long as I am notified ahead of time, I don't mind. Academic integrity. All items completed by students should be in their own words or use text cited with their own explanations. That means I'm allowing you to quote people, but you have to explain what the quote means and why that quote proved your point. In the case that items are plagiarized or people take someone else's work without giving credit, student will be on probation, in which I will be very wary of everything they turn in. If it continues after that first plagiarism, the item that they turn in that is plagiarized is automatically an incomplete, and they do not have a chance to redo. On top of that, we have consequences for the general class. I have a 3-strike policy in my class. First, I'll give a verbal reminder, such as, Johnny, get back on task. 2, we'll have a student-teacher conference in which I will take Johnny aside and I will tell him, Johnny, I need you to get back to work because right now you are not using your time wisely. Please get back to work or we will have to have another step of consequences. Now, I will do this not in front of the other students because it is not their business. I will pull the child aside, but it will be very clear that it is time to stop. 3, we call the parents and we explain why we are interrupting. If the parent does not pick up, the students will leave a voice message. Additionally, I will email to let the parent know that they should have received a voice message. And if they have any questions, they can email me. However, after the 3-step process, or if it is a very grievous or extreme example of disorder and need of a consequence, they will be sent to the office in which they will be dealt with outside of my classroom. We then have the absence policy. So weekly and daily work will be updated weekly. So by Friday, I should have my grades in for the week. Maybe give me Saturday to grade Friday's work. Please check grades regularly and feel free to ask any questions that you might have about a particular grade. That being said, I do usually post comments depending on if you got a C or below. If you are absent, the student is responsible for completing the makeup work. And for every day you are absent, that's how many days you have to redo the work for a full, not late work. So this is if you were in my class, but all makeup work will be placed on the door of my classroom. I have a filing cabinet that is hanging on my door. It's labeled M, T, W, R, and F for the days of the week. It is your responsibility to ask a classmate or me for help, and you can always schedule a retake for a quiz if you need it. If you know you are going to be absent beforehand, go ahead and ask me for the makeup work because I already have it planned out. And you can either do this in person before or after school, or before or after class, or via email. Last but not least, we have a general course description. So in this course, we will study and interpret the language, literature, history, archaeology, religion, and philosophies that came from our predecessors through the lens of STEM and cultural diversity. The Mesopotamians' creation of the wheel, Indus Valley literally creating the number zero, Egyptian architecture wonders like the Sphinx and the pyramids at Giza, and the Chinese using science to create gunpowder. These civilizations lived and breathed STEM. Names like Imhotep, the first known architect, Chandragupta II, and Lu Hao, a mathematician whose findings are still used and referenced today, will push students to expand their beliefs on what is possible. On top of novel units with protagonists varying in gender, creed, and origin, we will be progressing your students' grammar and language arts skills. Whether they are working on relaying their messages from other classes or using figurative language in explaining cells, transdisciplinary learning will be a constant. A little bit of background information on Miss J's. I was born in Heath, Ohio, but I moved to New Albany in kindergarten. I eventually went to a Division II college, around 45 minutes south of Pittsburgh, and my college was called California University of Pennsylvania, where I played soccer as a goalkeeper. I have a bachelor's degree in science, so a bachelor's in science and middle level education, and am in the process of getting a master's degree in gifted education. So we went all over that as a class. We answered any questions, some of which are what is plagiarism? How do we go about it? I gave a little overview on our reading units and gave them a little toe dip about what the books are about. And afterward, we did a Padlet where they would have to fill in one thing they learned today. So this is one classes. I hope that answered anything you missed as we were going over second day of school. Have an awesome day.